Jeremy Peña, I mean, and this is going to be a hot topic of conversation here. We just went through the AL Rookie of the Year finalists, and he wasn't one of the three. Obviously, it's a regular season award. Even so, I mean, with the regular season, because his regular season was not shabby in the least. But you're talking about a guy, Case, who was the ALCS MVP, right. World Series MVP, and, I mean, holding up the hardware at the end here. If you included the postseason numbers, and I know we know you're not doing that, but we're playing around.
We're having fun here.
Where does Peña wrap up for you in terms of American League Rookie of the Year?
Well, I mean, if you're playing with the World Series championship, I mean, obviously you'd have to think. I mean, even Julio Rodriguez would probably say, "Give it to Peña," because that's why you play the game. You play the game to win the championship, and how he factored into that postseason and how good he was. And basically being the MVP in the championship series and in the World Series. Guy's incredible. Already has won the Gold Glove too, so you know he's playing a premier position and he plays it so well. So I mean, you just look at these numbers, Fran. I mean, come on. You know, it would be incredible to see him in the conversation if these numbers did matter.
I mean, let that sink in. 10 for 25 in the World Series, and just overall, it hit 345 for Anthony in the entire postseason.
Yeah. I mean, what's crazy is this guy filled in or took the role of really a legend in Houston in Carlos Correa. Took over that spot, and it almost felt like they didn't miss a beat. He didn't miss a beat. And Correa even said last night or when it tweeted out, this guy's the man. I mean, stud. That was his word. He called him a stud, and he deserved this all these accolades. That's kind of what he did this year, and then the postseason proved who he was, his mettle, that he wanted to be there in the biggest situations, and he wanted to be the guy up at bat in those big situations, hitting the home runs, hitting the doubles, stealing bases, driving runners in, doing everything, and, of course, playing Gold Glove defense.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look here. Again, we're just because we can. Let's show Peña's numbers compared to the three finalists for AL Rookie of the Year here. And look, all three are very deserving: Adley Rutschman, Julio Rodriguez, and Steven Kwan. So it shows you there, J-Rob with the 28 bombs, and Kwan, again, we talked about his OPS. He did hit 300. I mean, look at the on base there too, of Steven Kwan. He did a great season there, and then. Adley Rutschman, maybe he didn't lead necessarily in those categories, but he was such a pivotal part of what, the O's did. But Peña was no slouch either. And you mentioned it, got the Gold Glove, which also represents his work in the regular season.
The 22 homers, I think the 101 OPS plus, I mean, maybe that was one of the
100 is league average.
100 is league average, so he's at 101.
Right.
Obviously, he went off in the postseason and playing shortstop. I think the 289 on base percentage, though, you hit 250 plus, but a 289 on base percentage, that means he wasn't walking that much either.
28 walks.
28 walks.
I think.
Yeah, and you talk about Steven Kwan. I mean, that's the comparison, but Kwan, as far as getting on base, was at a 370 plus clip.
Right.
And but hey, listen, like you said, we're playing the game where you factor in the postseason. If you do with the World Series championship and the MVPs, he's right up there.
So let's play a different game here. Julio Rodriguez, do you want to be Julio Rodriguez or Jeremy Peña? Julio Rodriguez, by the way, got an extension contract.
It wasn't bad.
So
it was okay.
It could be as little as 215-ish, but it could be as much as 450.
400,
And Jeremy Peña, he had all the accolades of the postseason.
Yeah.
So who would you rather be?
I mean, I'm going to put the money aside because I'm going to assume whether Peña gets it.
450 large aside.
Whether Peña gets 450 or not, I don't know. Right. He's going to get a lot of money. Right. I mean, that's who this. You can see he's on that track. He has the Gold Glove. He has all the postseason accolades, but more importantly, he won the World Series trophy. So for me, I'm going Peña.
If it's my first year in the big leagues, I'm probably going with Julio Rodriguez. If you're a veteran, you're like, all right, here, listen, a couple years from now, we're going to get that World Series title. But you always want that big contract. So if I'm a rookie right now, maybe Julio Rodriguez, I'd take him now, knowing that down the line, I'm going to win that World Series.